like you don't connect with just anyone, but if you pay attention, if you're aware of your intentions, you know, what you want to learn, how you want to grow, you connect with like-minded people.
All right, everyone. Vision Sylvester's here, season 2. I have a great guest here. We had to reschedule so many times, but it's been good. I finally, glad that she finally couldn't escape, and she ran out of excuses. So here we are. But I have my good friend Eva, uh, from Texas. So we're recording this pretty late, but it's all good.
Hey, we're here, season
Yeah.
2.
Yeah.
Excited to be here. Well, thank you, Javier, for the introduction. Yes, I'm out of time to run, to keep rescheduling. So I think it was time that we finally had a conversation. I'm really excited to be here, and I love the project that you're working on. So, we can start with that. I know that you interviewed some really great people, some of whom I know. So when you told me to join you on this conversation, I was like, yes, hands down. But I don't know. You tell me what do you want me to
So let everyone know what you do. Who you are.
Okay, well,
Introduction.
my name is Eva. I am I want to say I juggle a lot of titles for work, but I focus in public relations and writing. I feel like my purpose, though, is to help people be able to find their truest potential and to unlock their fiercest self so that they can follow their dreams, pursue the career that actually makes them feel passionate. And so I try to tie my purpose with my career, and that makes an Eva.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which you bring a good thing, a good what you said right now. I feel like that's kind of why we connected. So because I'm not the reason I do this is not for me. In a way, I do this to hopefully get someone else to jump and get away from that fear and like, hey, I can do it.
Yeah.
If Javier can do it, or everyone else, like kind of like their struggles and how they got to, like, this is exactly why I'm doing this and exactly why I feel like it's such an awesome way of like bringing you into this project that I feel we both are 100% like, man, this is exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like our purpose aligned from the moment that we first talked, just because, first of all, like your approach, you were very encouraging from the beginning. And I love to do that when I first meet with people and I try to connect with them. So just from the beginning, I felt, like I felt connected by the use of your words, I guess. And it was really cool to hear what all you do, and then to check the work that you're, this venture that you have going and how you're trying to connect with people. And I just thought it's really cool because you're in my hometown. I am from Venezuela, but I grew up in Utah. I lived in Utah for like 16, 17 years. And so a lot of my family and friends, live there. And it's just cool to know that there's inspiring people in the community like you, to push them, to encourage them to pursue their dreams. So
That's awesome. And I appreciate it.
yeah.
I hate making it anything about me, but
Yeah.
no, it's all everyone that's on here. So I appreciate it. But like, first of all, why Texas?
Texas. When we decided to move to Texas, it was in 2014, and it wasn't because it was the prettiest place. My husband worked for Delta Airlines, and so we got to travel to a lot of cool places.
Mm.
But I had some family that had moved here, and our oldest daughter, Isabella, was born with a rare eye condition. She's blind from her right eye. And in Utah, we did everything that we could for her. The next step was to go somewhere where they had, a more advanced medical care for her eye, to see if there was anything else that they could do. And so at the time, we thought we wanted to proceed with doing, procedures to try to help her save her eyesight. And she's completely blind from her right eye now. But at that time we were pursuing to, to seek more medical attention for it and see what we could figure out. And so long story short, we moved here for medical reasons, and we ended up falling in love with Houston. I don't see myself living anywhere. I 100% know that my husband wouldn't want to live anywhere. And so it's been great. The first couple years was a little rough. Utah's very different. I want to say that it's slower paced, and by that I don't mean like it's slow or anything. I feel like it's also advancing, but I think Houston is very fast paced. So it made me grow up very fast, and it made me get on my feet a lot faster than I would have, or take chances that I probably wouldn't have if I still lived in Utah. So.
Oh wow, yeah, I know, but I exactly how my wife fell in love with Texas.
Yeah.
Going through Houston, and it's just like, so I totally understand. But
yeah,
Utah.
it's I don't have any. Yeah, it's just Houston. Yeah, and I love Utah. We visit all the time, but for sure, home is here.
Yeah. Oh, that's good to hear. So I visit all the time, except when it's to record an episode. It's okay. I'm just kidding. I'm so salty about that. You're like, geez. Anyways, move on.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I know that you also another reason why we connected. I remember you showed me some stuff that some artwork that your wife did, some sketches. And I remember we were meeting. We decided to start doing phone calls to help mentor each other, to help each other out, and to stay accountable. And you showed me your wife's sketches, and I was like, oh my God, like even his wife is an art. Like I was like, this is just like all the connections. I'm very passionate about art. I feel like art is one other thing that pushed me to explore my creativity and how far I could push myself was by practicing art and open around other people, like painting and putting my paintings out there. I started doing like denim jackets, painting over denim jackets and stuff, and I ended up connecting with other professionals who paint. And it just pushed me out of my comfort zone, and I found out that I'm a very creative person. I used to tell myself that I was a square because I'm like a mathematician and stuff. But I ended up, I am a very creative person. When I was younger, I got into a lot of trouble, and now I understand why. I was very inventive. I was always looking for ways to be, to do something different, and just, I feel like stepping out of your comfort zone really helps you to be able to figure out what you want to do. And I think our career, when we choose our career, since that's what the podcast is about, when we choose our career, we should choose something that we're passionate about, because it's something that we have to deal with every day. Just like when we choose a spouse or a partner for our life, or when we choose to, have children, we consciously make these decisions. I'm going to be a parent. I'm going to be somebody's significant other. And we consciously make this decision to be present in that and to be passionate about it. And I think when it comes to work, it should be the same. And so a lot of people who end up working for corporate, I was one of those people for many years. You kind of get sucked into what is, what the norm is. And you stop being creative, thinking for yourself. You start thinking of, this has created me in this, in this world. I can only go this far, because then what are people going to say? What are people going to think? I could get fired. I could, you start thinking of all the what if, and you stop thinking for yourself. And so I think when you open yourself creatively, circling back to that statement, when you open creatively, you kind of just explore your arts, what kind, everybody's good at some type of art. We all love art. Art is in all of us. It's part of us. And so digging for art was what helped me figure out that there was a lot more that I wanted to explore, to figure out, exactly what I'm good at. And I think public relations was the best decision for me, because I work in communication, marketing. So I get to connect with people, connect with businesses, and be able to see people who are maybe in stages that I've been in, and I can help. And then there's also people who mentor me, in my career, who have helped me also grow. And so it's really cool, to be able to put myself in both in both positions, and being open to get feedback from others. I
Yep.
love when people who've been in the industry give me feedback on my work. It makes me, and not so much because of what other people think, but because I know that they're working just as hard. And I just love to connect with people who are just as focused. And so, yeah.
No,
Art.
yeah. No, I like how I like how it's you start connecting, right? Like you start noticing the connection to everything
Yeah.
from the beginning, right? Like you notice, okay, in school getting in trouble, but like being that creative, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden you start working in the corporate where it kind of feels again where you're like in the not the school system, but now in a type of system that like your creativity has to go. You
Yeah.
have to kind of hide that a bit, and then in not until you are like, you know what, I'm gonna be my own entrepreneur where I can express the way I am, and it's gonna help other and connect with other people too, right? Like one thing that I learned so far now is like that mentorship, right? Is that having that someone that's like it's not either doing something similar to you, but
Yeah.
totally different, but just having that mentor like, hey, I gone through this, so let me help you, you know. So it's
Yeah.
really interesting to how everything's connected and the art, and exactly why I feel it was so connected is because I'm like, I barely know Eva, but I'm gonna show her the art. I'm gonna like tell her about what I,
Yeah.
you know how it's all like how it's
Yeah.
been
It all
making me
connects.
creative.
Yeah. I feel
Yeah.
like our families will be the greatest of friends when we finally meet in person. But yeah, I agree. Like I think that we all have a gift that we can share with others if we dig deep inside. I think when people are looking to find a place in the world, they focus too much on the superficial side of it. It's very human for us to do that, but I think when we dig deeper inside, like in our inner universe, we are able to not only find our gift, but find a way to share it with the world. Not everyone is good at communicating. Not everyone is good at painting. Not everyone is good at singing, but each person has a gift. And even if someone else shares a similar gift, they're going to do it differently because they're a whole other person. And so instead of focusing on what others think or how do I look doing this, I love that also, and again, how we aligned, our energies was because you're focused on how you can help someone else, not how you look doing it, or if you're, if they think you're the best, I've been there. This is how it went for me, hey, here's my feedback. And if I can help you in any way so you can do it better, here I am, and that's my job now. And so I'm really happy that I was able to find a way to tie that.
Yeah.
And it's really cool just to see people get really shocked when other people believe in them.
Yeah.
Somebody recently quoted to me that people like to see you happy, but never like happier than them or in a better position than them. And I was like, dang, like it makes sense why when you start elevating your mindset or growing in your career, a lot of the times people feel like they're left behind,
Yeah.
it's because as your mindset elevates, it's not so much that you change, as a person. I think we're always the same person, but our mind elevates, our skills grow, or, socially, mentally, spiritually, etc. And I think that affects, in all aspects as well. And so when we focus on the superficial, not on the inner, we forget to look for that gift, like I'm telling you, or it goes to sleep because we focus so much on what others are thinking,
Correct.
And I think that's what prevented me when I was younger to explore. Going back to what you said, I think through high school it was a little bit harder for me to connect. I moved a lot. My mom was a single mom, and I went to 18 different schools. I think that tells you a whole story. And it was really hard for me to connect with people, but it taught me, to be able to connect with people on a deeper level a lot faster than someone who's been in the same town their whole life with the same people. I feel like it's easier for me to see someone who may need encouragement, or someone who may need to hear someone tell them like, hey, like, tone it down a little bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes I need it. So yeah.
No, and I think it's yeah, being that being that person that can see it, like people's creativity, whatever, but even though when they don't see it, right? And for me, it's like I can get to connect with that person right away. There's certain people, right, like more in the deeper level, but then the ones that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna connect and see how I can help you in any way, right? Whether you take it or you don't take my, what I'm saying, or I'm just throwing it out there. As long as I throw it out there to you and you do whatever you please with it, then that's on you. But it's giving that little push of like, yeah, I believe in you.
Yeah.
I barely know you, but I believe in you.
Yeah.
And so
It's
connecting it, yeah.
beautiful. Yeah, I think it's beautiful to see humans connecting in that way, encouraging one another rather than being competitive to push each other. There's a lot of superficial world going on out there, and I think that connection that you just mentioned, just being there for someone, like, hey, I believe in you that you can do this. Like you said, if I can do it, you can do it. If I was able to figure it out, you'll be able to figure it out. And if I can help you figure it out faster, here you go. It's up to you what you do with the information. But I feel like that's our purpose, is to spread to people encouragement, with words of affirmation, remind them that they're worthy to take a chance, that they're worthy to believe in themselves and to chase something. What if you fall on your ass?
Yeah.
You get up, you wipe off the dust, and you try again, like that's what life is about.
No, it's true. Yeah, 100% agree. Yeah. That's it, guys. I'm just kidding. No.
Wrap up right here.
I know that's a lot said in just a short time. No, but yeah, it's and then just how you create. You have that. As your business, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like you still have a family. You need to support and everything as well. So it's just like helping them out, but also knowing that, hey, it's the part of like the business where I do have to, you know, get paid for the services, but also knowing that there's some stuff that as a business owner, you can be like, you know what, I'm going to offer this for free or something, because I feel like it's needed, and it's all up to you because you're the owner. You do whatever you please, right, with it. So, and I've done that. There's a few times where I'm just like, you know what, whatever. I'll just think should help them out. So here it goes. But no, it's, and I say that just because I know.
Because you're a giver.
Yeah.
Your purpose is to give to people. And so if your gift is to give to people, you're going to give and give and give. But don't fall in the giving rabbit hole because you undervalue yourself. I undervalued myself for a very long time. When I first launched myself as a full entrepreneur, my husband's like, okay, go for it. Like, I'll take one for the team, I'll work hard and I'll do my best, but you got to figure this out. I was leaving a full-time job and, my daycare, all these things, free daycare and everything. And in the beginning, you get all overconfident, when you start, you're like, I got this. And then you get smashed a couple months later, this isn't as easy. You got to be consistent. You don't have a boss with deadlines, have to pay for your own platforms, etc. And I fell on my ass a lot of times because of that. But I think, you learn in your entrepreneurial journey to be more accountable, to be more present, and to, going full circle with everything that you have to do. Learn to manage your time. You learn to give and to value yourself because of those experiences. And so I really feel like I used to underprice myself, and I used to want to give everything for free because I was like, man, I wish people did it for me when I started.
Yeah.
Or, I wish someone cared about me enough that they'd do something that nice. And then I was like, why do I need someone to do something that nice? Why don't I do something really nice and have people invest in themselves so they can also value the time and the commitment that they're putting towards a goal? And that was like literally my hook. That right there, what I just told you.
Yeah.
I landed my first couple sales.
Which is interesting you say that, because I heard that, right? Like it's the whole saying, you give the person a fish or whatever. I don't know but it's also right. Like if it's free, someone's not really gonna be like, oh my gosh, I have to do it, because it's free. So there's nothing for them to lose. But then now if they're investing in themselves, then it's like, okay, I spend X amount of money. If I just spend it and I don't do anything with it, then it's just throwing my money away, throwing all this time that I, just put into it. So I totally understand it. And it clicked to me just now. I'm like, okay, now I get it.
Like, damn,
So what do you want me to buy?
you don't have to
Sign
buy.
me up.
Oh my god, yeah. But that, yeah, I've learned to value myself through my venture into becoming an entrepreneur. And I even used to be like, I don't know if it's happened to you where you like introduce yourself and you're like started when you're starting to build, I own my own business, I am my own boss, and you like introduce yourself and you're like, hi, I'm like, hi, I'm Eva. I'm a writer. You know, what? A writer.
Yeah.
I don't believe myself.
Yeah.
I had that for a while. And with one of my, the many hats that I wear doing PR, I'm my sister's manager and she works in music. And so it was so hard for me to introduce myself as, hi, I'm Eva, I'm Eva
Yeah.
Flores, I'm her manager. And she's like just recently asked me, she's like, dude, like, why don't you just say it? Like, just say it out loud. I was like, I just can't. It just sounds like such a like bossy thing to call myself,
You're
It
like,
just seemed like such a big title,
yeah.
And then it like dawned on me that it's not the title, it's the job that I do. I'm describing what I'm doing, I'm managing her career. So people know they have to contact me. And so I
Yeah.
started trying to look at it from that perspective so that it wouldn't be so hard. But now when I introduce myself, I make sure to speak up. And
Yeah. You're like, I'm the manager. Don't
hi,
talk.
I'm the manager. I collect the money.
Yeah. Don't talk to her unless you talk to me
Don't
first.
pass go.
I know, right? Oh my gosh. It's so how did you overcome it? Like, is it just more of like as it continued on, the more introductions you had? How was it that you were able to get away from like that quietness of like
Um,
knowing that this is who I am, and I'm gonna
valuing myself, putting a dollar to my work. I have invested hours, years of my time to bring together or put together something that's going to help you overcome fears or obstacles in your own head so that you can actually push yourself and hear your own thoughts. I think I told you this probably in the beginning, but a lot of the times I talk to people and they think that I help them come up with all these ideas, and I didn't. Those ideas were all already there.
Mm,
My job is to help you unlock that. And for you to unlock that, you have to be comfortable speaking out loud. And so my job is to make you feel comfortable. And that took me a long time. It's a skill. We talked about a skill, right? And it's taken me a long time to build that skill. How did I build it? Through hard experiences, like moving a lot. I didn't choose to learn it, but I learned it, and I looked for a way that it would benefit my life when I went on that spiritual journey of, like, life doesn't suck. There's a reason why I went through all those things. And so I think little by little, you start figuring it out and you start valuing yourself or giving yourself the worth. You are worth the money that you're charging for your services, for the time that you're giving. And yes, you can help people, but people are always going to want to have help. We want help,
yeah.
I would love help.
Yeah.
And I think I'm doing all right, but I would love help. And so I think we're never satisfied with, it's never enough. And so we have to put a boundary to giving, since we're givers. You're a big giver. I can tell by the way that you speak. And so from, as a friend, I would want you to tell me too, like, give, but don't overgive, don't give your whole self and then have nothing left for yourself.
Yeah.
It's important to leave a little bit for yourself so that you can push through. And I don't think people like you and I need a lot to be hopeful, to be optimistic, because we already know our gift. And so it's good that we give, but we can't give it all away. So,
Yeah. And this time when it's happened, where I started a new venture, and with like how I mentioned with the drones, right?
yeah.
And it was just, I'm like, oh, I'll do it for free. And then it was until that friend was like, why would I have you do it for free? That's something that you invested in. So here's money, and I'm like, oh, and I'm like, I guess I do. It sets me back. I'm like, I guess that I do have a worth, even though sometimes I don't see it. And that part of the giver takes over. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. So it's nice. I have to have a value in it. And so it's crazy how, like, as we're communicating, you're like, bringing all this back and connecting all the dots for me, and it's exactly how you said it, right? It's like I didn't have the idea. It's like you had it. You're just communicating, and it comes out.
Yeah, it just comes out. And I don't think everyone has, like, you don't connect with just anyone. But if you pay attention, if you're aware of your intentions, what you want to learn, how you want to grow, you connect with like-minded people, whether they're like on the same, on the same level as you, or a little bit, a step higher, or maybe they're the ones that are, reaching for a hand. You're always going to be able to find your people. And I think that's what happened to us. I think we found our people. Our connection was crazy. I feel like our connection was through Giselle.
Yeah.
And I love Giselle. I've loved her from the moment I met her. It's just her energy. We just connected. And I feel like the older we've gotten, the more that I understand our connection. And so getting close to her led me to meeting you as well.
Yeah.
And so it's all energy. It's all our intention, where we focus when we're looking for our tribe. I think having a good circle of people, I wouldn't say like a large group of, I'm very sociable. I have a lot of like different social groups that I have to visit with and work around, but my friends group, I would say that I can count my friends with one hand. And that probably sounds cliche. I think a lot of people say that.
Yeah.
But,
No.
I think successful people, I'm not there yet. I'll let you know. Years. But they say that if you keep, people that can help you balance, 5 friends that can help you find your balance, one really good spiritual friend, one really good friend, it's really good with finances, one friend that's, very disciplined with the things that matter to you, that give you balance, you'll be able to thrive. And so having people in your corner, believing in yourself, applying all the lessons that you have in your life into, what you want to become. I think if we pay attention, we're all prepared to take the next step. Maybe we have to hear that somebody had it worse than us, or that somebody else is going through it or has questioned themselves. But I don't know. I feel like encouraging people not only helps them grow, but I feel like it helps me grow too. It reminds me of the importance of what I do. And so, and then we meet people like you.
Yeah. It's interesting to, as you're growing up and you hear, have a small circle, right?
Yeah.
And it's like sometimes you get confused with, the more people I know, the larger my group of friends are, the more connected I am. But it's those smaller ones, have you mentioned, like piecing, like financial, whatever, but piecing that smaller group is what makes you, I feel like, bigger than having a bigger crowd.
Yeah.
So, and
conversations, any meaningful conversation can make you thrive more than any superficial gathering, for sure.
Yeah. No. And then when you mentioned Giselle, the one thing that her creativity that I remember is like when she said, we all could have the same idea, but when she put it into an art perspective, where she's like, but you telling me, hey, go paint a picture of a flower or a bird or something like that, right? She said everyone's is going to be different. No one's going to be the same. And then it wasn't until I go back and listen to that, I'm like, it's true,
Yeah, it is true. It's what we were just talking about,
Yeah.
and that whole thing, a lot of people, there's a lot of musicians, but every single one of them has a different voice, a different sound, Same thing with art, same thing with any art, or any idea. We're all our own person. So we may have an idea because we saw something, or, it was sparked by something around us, subconscious, whatever. But at the end of the day, what makes it unique is when you apply your authenticity to it,
Yeah.
your own way. You're going to do it how it flows for you.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Awesome. I know. It's like, hold on, let me soak it all in, and I'll
no. Can we listen to it so we can both take the same?
I know. It's like 1 second. Oh my goodness. I know you mentioned, and maybe I'm just putting words in your mouth, but with failure, you know, like how would someone overcome like that? Would you say that it's part of the journey, failing?
Okay. How to overcome
Yeah,
failing?
how would you get overcome that?
I don't think you ever overcome failing. It's a failure. I think failing is supposed to feel like you failed. I think it's coming to terms with accepting that without failing, you can't be good at something. You have to, you can be good at, you know, I feel like I'm like really naturally good at writing. Okay, let's just throw me out there. Let's not throw
Yeah.
someone else. Okay, I'm overly confident in my writing skills.
Okay.
But I can always be better, you know. Somebody could read a paper that I write and they're like, this is garbage, bro. Like, what are you talking about? I don't understand this, you know. But somebody else could read it and be like, oh my God, you know, it's the best thing I ever read. And so I think there's always room for growth. There's always room for feedback, for failures, for lessons. I don't think failure is failure. I think failure is lessons. It's learning that maybe that outlet doesn't work. And so coming to terms with that makes a big difference.
Okay. I know.
It's okay to mess up. I think it's just that. It's okay to mess up. Like I said, make a fool of yourself, you know, fall on your ass, get up, dust yourself. It's coming to terms that it's either that, you know, you kind of have to put your ego to sleep, especially when you're an entrepreneur. You kind of have to push it aside a little bit, humble yourself down. There's going to have to be some stuff you're going to do that maybe you wouldn't have done if you worked in corporate, you know.
Yeah.
Starting a business, maybe you can't hire someone to clean your office, you know, a professional to clean your office. You have to clean the office and you have to run the office. You know, you have two jobs.
Yep.
You were living the dream, you know, you were an entrepreneur, so, you know, whatever. But I think it's that. It's just accepting that sometimes you have to wear a lot of hats. Sometimes there's not even one hat to wear because you can't land a sale.
Yeah.
Sometimes everything's going great and then all of a sudden everything, you know, shit hits the fan. You're like, yo, what happened? Like, I thought, you know, I had these long-term clients, they left. I've had all kinds of things happen. And I think what made the difference for me for things like flow, because nothing's ever perfect, is accepting my else.
Yeah.
Just like, damn.
I know.
Okay.
Okay.
How can I do it better?
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
man. Okay. Well.
And I'm very spoiled. So, and spoiled like with my attitude, like sassy. And so I've had to fall a few times for sure.
Yeah. Get a little bit humbled, you know, in a way. It's like,
Yeah,
hold up.
very humbled.
No, I love when that happens too. When I'm like, you know, the humble part, and I'm, you know, when it does happen, I'm like, okay, step back a little bit, just relax, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then the optimistic side of me is like, anyways, what's next?
Well, whatever. I got this. Another day, another dollar.
Yeah.
Yep. I think you have to keep those two, like I said, balance. You can't put your ego completely to sleep, because how do you build a reputation if you're not confident? You know, if you don't believe in your own word, your own product, or your own service, how can someone else? So you do have to be a little overly confident in the beginning, or, you know, also like kind of balancing, you know, create something with love, with passion, and then go throw it at the world with confidence.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Preach it.
Can you send me that transcript?
I know, right? It's like you start quoting yourself and stuff.
We got a whole bunch of quotes today.
You start trademarking them if I release the audio. You like, anyways. How does how do I follow up with that? I'm just kidding.
Damn.
I know. How is it as an entrepreneur? Like, how do you balance that work life and that family and just your personal life? You know,
This
how
is
do you
where
do it?
I need coaching.
How do you do it?
I try my best. I think some weeks I'm a better mom. Some weeks I'm a better like business owner or manager or whatever else I do. It takes discipline. I don't think I'm the most disciplined person, but disciplined enough to make sure that everyone's happy, or that I do
Mhm.
my best to make everyone happy, but that's also a personal choice. So I make sure my kids are fed, make sure that they have what to play with, that I spend time with them, that we talk. To me, it's very important to talk, have conversation. And that helps have good relationships. But I'm not going to lie to you and tell you, like, I spend 50-50 and,
Mhm.
like, my business is important, but I'm, my family first. Of course, I want my family to be first always, but
Yeah.
sometimes or some weeks or some days I have to like prioritize my work because a client paid me for work and I have
Yeah.
to turn it in, or my kids won't get fed.
Yeah.
So I think it's as you go, but be conscious about it. If you
Yeah.
ask a question, be conscious about it. Pay attention to your family. It's more about quality, not about quantity.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. Yeah.
And I
But,
like how, yeah, we can, like, when I told you, I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't posted anything this week, but then
yeah.
you're like, it's okay, and I'm like, it is okay. Sometimes you need to hear it, because I'm like, and honestly, like, I message that person, because I like to, when I release the episode, I like to announce it and then do clips of like the episode.
Yeah.
And I just, told her, I'm like, hey, I apologize. It was just, it was an off week. And I know I shouldn't, right? But it's just that type of person that I'm like, or maybe I don't know, sure, shouldn't, whatever. But
Yeah.
that part of me was like, hey, like, it was an off week. I'm posting your stuff this week, and just with the release of the episode. So just wanted to let you know that because it means a lot to me, right? People are taking time off,
Yeah.
whatever they're doing, to show up, and for me to just like, okay, like, I'm not posting anything, like, thanks, bye, it's like, I appreciate everything they do for me, so then I go back and I'm like, hey, I'm gonna release it, I'm doing more stuff, it's also available for you. This is what the whole, other point of it is, that it's available for you to use it as you please.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be like, I need to post it and stuff. Yeah, but
I think that's nice of you. I think that makes you like a good person, because I think when you invite people to come on here to talk, they also feel honored to be a part of your show, of your vision. Your vision is, I saw when you talked to me about your vision, what you wanted to do, I was like, wow, like, this is the type of stuff I want to be, that I want to be
Mhm.
connected with. So I think you value time, and if you don't post, that's okay.
Yeah.
Not the hard way. That was a lesson, Javier. I burned myself out. I was like giving. I mean, if you go to my feed from like 2020, when the pandemic hit, I started posting everything I had written in my journals and all, the reflections I had for like 2 years, and I burned myself out.
Mhm.
It was taking like 60% of my work time, 50% of my work time, just to figure out what am I going to post, or, oh, I need to post this and tag so-and-so, and I need to do this, and I need to do a story, and I need to tell people why it's inspiring. And I started focusing more on the superficial, on telling
Mhm.
people, hey, hey, look at this, on the validation aspect, than the actual purpose, which was to inspire others. And
Yeah.
so I think little by little, I pulled a little bit away from like posting too much, but I still try to encourage others. And I do plan to come back with some stuff real soon that I'm working on, but it'll be more business-like on my business page.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I overdid the posting.
No, but it's also good to see on your social media, right? The kind of what how it is now. I feel like it's more natural,
Yeah,
more personal in a way, but he's still posting without have making it seem like, oh, I have to do this.
yeah, yeah. I hop on whenever it flows.
Yeah. And then for you saying, like, with your business social media, right? It's like it's more stuff is coming. So it's like telling me it's okay, right? Because I did the same thing too for my business social media,
Mhm.
Instagram. I stopped posting. Like, it's been like 4 or 5 months, right? And it's exactly how you said you did with yours. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna encourage them. I'm gonna do this, like, kind of like, look at this, and this is what I do and stuff, to eventually just completely
Yeah,
like out. And
yeah,
I'm like, okay, I don't want to just post that anymore. I want to make it something, and I'm still trying to find that what I want to post on there, so I haven't really posted, but it's okay, because I have a lot. Like I have the podcast, and I have my own personal one that I want to start being more active, and then TikTok, and then reels and shorts, and it's just all kind of comes together.
Yeah. It's like an arcade game,
Yeah.
games, like all these different ways to put yourself out there. They're like all similar platforms. It's funny how we use it to show like different windows, different masks, different ways to connect with people, because you don't use the same content on I don't use the same content on every platform. Sometimes some of it is shareable, on different ones, but I feel like you connect differently on each platform. And that's just me speaking from the business side of it, working in it. Personally, again, my socials are never really consistent, but I honestly think that you can get burned out real easy. There's a lot of social media platforms, so I try to see it as a game, but I take it seriously, like a competition game. But I'm not competition with others, but just like,
With yourself.
Right, not to get points.
Yeah. Which I totally agree, right? Like I used to post everything on the same platform, right? And it's not until I'm meeting, like, my selfish part of this whole podcast is that I'm like, okay, they're willing, like the guests are like, hey, do this, do that, And so I'm like, oh yeah, the reason they're doing this is because it makes sense, right? But anyways, going back, it's like I started sharing different things on different platforms. And then now when I get into LinkedIn, because I'm like, oh, it's basically like entrepreneur business type of related, but I'm not going to post the same thing I'm posting on all the other social media because it's LinkedIn, So, and then now you got Threads, and I'm like, okay, I want Threads to be something close to LinkedIn, but like not the same, So it's just finding that it's at work.
What is Threads supposed to be, dude? Like,
it's like a journal.
It is a journal, but I already had a Twitter journal. So now I'm on Threads trying to figure out, like, do I have a professional business journal? Like,
You like that?
It has to be a little less personal for sure.
I know, but it's yeah. And how does someone like, now bring as a business owner, how do you, when something new comes up, how do you involve that, or how do you bring that into for your clients?
So let me tell you how I Threads.
You just need to do it. Get on it right now.
Dude, whenever it launched, I woke up to I have the only app that I have notifications on is Twitter, because I try to stay consistent with whatever's going on. Well, I used to. I don't anymore because it's not even called Twitter anymore. It's called X now. But anyway, a whole other story.
Yeah.
When Threads came out, I saw it on a notification. Like it was trending, and I was like, Threads. And then I saw the logo on it, and the first person that posted on Instagram that I saw is a friend whose initials are AG. Okay. So I thought she made this new Twitter app, and I was like, dang,
dang girl.
I need to step it up.
What am I doing with myself?
I need to connect with people. I need somebody to make me an app. Turns out to be an app from Instagram, and I was like, oh no. And just I don't know, within a couple of hours, 3 of my clients were already asking, hey, are you going to make me a Threads account? Or what is Threads? And
this really?
Is it? Yes. And I was
oh my gosh.
Well, I guess let me go grab a cup of coffee and go find out what's going on. And then, that day I also found out that they call Mark Zuckerberg, they call him Daddy Zuck. So
Daddy Zuck.
That was a great find that day.
Oh my gosh. That's so funny.
So, and he's the one that created Threads. So
yeah. But Daddy Zuck. How do you, what's interesting is it sounded like they expect you to already know. Like, hey, it's like you already knew this was coming out, right?
Yeah. Hey, so what's the 411? I'm like, the what? The 4 who?
So yeah.
I was like, give me a couple hours, I'll get back to you. Yeah. By the end of that week, I had to make 4 Threads accounts. One of them was one of those services that you're like, I'm just gonna help this client. They don't pay for this but they absolutely need it.
Yeah.
And I had to get one myself. I don't use it very often, but I try to stay consistent. I try.
Yeah.
I try to go on at least once a day for like 5 minutes. I just start scrolling, but it looks exactly the same as Twitter,
Yeah.
except the funny stuff is not there.
What's the,
Everyone's professional. There's no funny.
yeah. Well, they're trying to figure it out too. Like, I feel like,
Yeah, I think we all are.
yeah.
I'm not gonna be the first mess up.
Yeah. And that's what I remember one time, well, on one of those threads, it's like, do we add hashtags?
Yes.
Yeah, like, is that a thing here? And I'm like, I don't know.
Got a hashtag, and it was funny. They're like, "How long is this app going to be open, or is it permanent? Like, do we start writing here?" Some
Yeah.
people wrote like there was memes of caves and stuff, like people coming out of caves and stuff. It's just funny, so funny, and yeah. People expected me to know, so I
Yeah.
did. I was a pro threads in 3 hours. Like, apparently, this is a service I sell. So yeah. What about you? Did you open threads for yourself and for your business account, or just for yourself?
I think just for myself. I was like, I don't know how to do for the business. So I was like, whatever. I was gonna skip that part.
Season
But
2.
but yeah, season 3 actually, because it's already I'm into deep now.
Yeah, yeah.
And so yeah, season 2 is LinkedIn.
Mhm.
And what else am I posting on? And in season 3, I'm gonna start, or maybe sometime, but I start doing the oh my gosh, like blogs,
Okay.
like
Like on
little,
your
like
website?
somewhere. All right.
Okay.
Don't get too ahead, okay?
I'm like over here giving ideas. Let's do mentorship. Okay.
It's like, all of a sudden I get an invoice and stuff, like, no, thank you.
Oh, we're done.
No, but it's the small little steps, but like, I know as I'm evolving and stuff like that, it's okay, season 3, like, I got threads down, I'm gonna open a business one, and stuff like that, but figure out exactly what is gonna go on there, which people are saying get on it now, right? Because like, it's the same thing as Twitter or TikTok. It's like, if you get in it earlier, there's more benefits of whatever, of being
Figuring it out.
exposed. And yeah.
I think it's about figuring it. The practice. We talked about it. Practice.
Yeah.
It's being on it, learning when it's best to post, what kind of content gets more likes, and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I do it I have 2 accounts that I do social media for. And so those are my superficial masks, and target audiences, and so I have to think, like, what would the target audience for this client want, So
Yeah.
try to find relatable content. It can be fun, but sometimes it's like I don't know.
Yeah. Well, my thing is, like, do I want to do video, or do I want to do like a picture with a quote and a link, kind
Do
of
it all.
exactly. So,
Do it all.
no, I know. But what I'm saying, like, so then what am I gonna for LinkedIn, for example, I'm doing the quote and the links,
Mhm.
So I'm trying to, and then I see people posting the whole video, like how they post it on their Instagram.
Okay, so
And
it's like
some
repetitive.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't want it to be, I want it to be like, oh, look, this one Javier's posting a quote from this episode, and so like make it more intriguing of like, having them wanting to listen to the whole episode.
You connect better. It sounds like less of a sell than, it sounds more like an invite to join.
Yes.
I agree.
But it's like,
it's more work.
I know, but it's I want to be able to fail on my own, right? See what exactly what's my niche on those social media platforms. So
yeah, that'll be
I'll
fun.
get there.
How that goes. And if you find it, please let me know for my clients.
Yeah.
I think the first thread was something like something relatable to like waking up to your clients telling you there's a new app, and you're like, no, there's not.
Yeah. I
I
was
think
actually hoping I posted something and like some celebrity was gonna like, oh my gosh, let's listen to Vision to Venture, That wasn't it, but it's okay. I thought I at least try.
yeah, I had a couple of people that normally don't reply to my comments on their things on threads. So right now is a great time to write people that
Yeah.
have a lot of followers. If you're
Yeah.
like,
What's good too, that's I actually did get a guest from Threads,
that's
I was
cool.
just like, hey, like, who wants to be, who's interested, kind of what you do. But what I'm also learning from doing this episode is like, I'm not just wanting entrepreneurs. Like, I feel like there's always an entrepreneur, even though you're working a 9 to 5, right? So I
Yeah.
tell people, like, what are you good at? Are you good at networking? Are you good at social media? Are you good at, if you say yes, like if you're at a one, scale at 1 to 10 and you're like a 9 on that type of skill, then I want to have you on there because you're still using it and it's valuable information that people need to, have that. But also knowing that, and first thing I get, but I'm not a business owner. It doesn't matter if you're not a business owner. You have that information that I think people should hear and listen to. So
Yeah. I think that's so cool. I love the purpose of your podcast.
yeah, and,
I
and it,
I think it's so cool because you push people to speak on their knowledge. Like,
yeah,
don't be afraid to have knowledge. Like, it's okay.
yeah,
I That's what you make me feel. Like, it's okay to be knowledgeable, and you know, it's a safe space. So
yeah.
that's cool.
It breaks those barriers of like, I've never done a podcast. I'm like, so I never did one before until I just decided to do one,
Yeah.
and so
Help
hopefully,
me do
yeah.
my next one.
What's that?
You have to help me do my next one.
Oh, definitely. And I think we need to meet in person, even if I need to fly
Yeah.
over there, or because
Oh my
I might as well fly over there because
I
like,
just won't go because you're never coming.
yeah. All of a sudden you're like, I moved. I'm like,
I'm
oh
like,
wow.
hey, are you coming to Utah? Yes, goes to California. Hey, are you coming to Utah? Is in Orlando.
I know.
Are you coming now? Vegas. I am so sorry. I keep missing the flight.
Oh, I was laid over like at Utah, but I didn't tell you. It's all good.
I'm gonna
Any
be. Anywho,
no.
I'm not bitter. I'm not.
I know, it's like, damn, this guy has a lot of hate.
Yo,
Brings- He's so tries to be nice, but he's such a like a jerk.
I'll bring you some sugar. A bag of sugar.
No, but I know definitely, and how we talked, right? I want to be able to create a business from this, right? Right, like how you said, it's like yeah, you um when you start having people invest in them, this is that type of investment, right?
Yeah.
Podcast is the thing that everyone wants to do, but it's also like, why not do that for someone else?
Yeah.
Work with you and figure something out that I'm like, hey, this is exactly what I want to do. There's some other business. I mean, so many business that I want to start. I'm like, okay,
Yeah. I
relax.
think you're very entrepreneurial. I think that's cool. And I don't think any billionaire only had one business venture.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that right now. I think I read somewhere in one of my books. I'm gonna find it. I know I highlighted it. I'm remembering. I'm gonna send it to you, a picture of it. It might be in the 48 Power Laws by Robert Greene. He says that you need like 5 different streams of income or something like that to become a millionaire. So
Okay.
if that's your goal,
Hey, let me get some more.
you better start all these businesses. Your investment.
I know. It's what I say interesting now instead of funny, because it's like, why it's not funny, Javier? But it's what's interesting. I know I'm like talking to myself. It's late at night, all right, everyone.
It's
So
okay.
if you're
It only took Javier to get me here 11:30 p.m.
I know
time to get me.
they're gonna be like, man, this guy's so relaxed. Look at him. But this is like the creativity we talked about, right? It's that late. It's
It's laid back. We're just talking.
whatever we talk about, everyone. Do not take our ideas. But
So please.
um You know,
Not this video yet.
I'm like, it's gonna be missing like a whole 20 minutes.
We greet each other, say bye. None of this information can be shared.
All of a sudden, I get a notification you're recording. You say, like, "Oh fuck, we were recording. We were doing an episode."
Oh my God.
Anywho, no, but I was gonna say, I don't consider myself an entrepreneur, right? Like, when I do you hear people say that, it's like,
It's
I
an
don't know, like
ugly
all
word.
serious and stuff. Like now, it's like it just like,
It makes you look square.
yeah,
I don't
it,
like the word. It's
yeah,
say it again. Entrepreneur. Like
yeah, and
it's
yeah,
not flashy. It's not.
but
You call yourself if you have like multiple business ventures. What do you call it? Or like if you're starting your own business, what do you call yourself?
mm,
An innovator,
yeah,
creator.
I guess I like the innovator better. Creator's nice. I'm over here like, yeah,
That's what I call myself. Yes.
the innovator creator.
Change his Instagram handle. With you.
Like this guy, all of a sudden it doesn't say si me llevo on it.
Oh my God.
Ah,
So it's a whole business called the Innovator.
trademarked. No, but yeah, so I don't consider myself right. But I did message you, right? And I told him I know exactly a broke philanthropist, right? Because I'm like, I don't give away money because I don't have money to give
I
away.
love that. You
But
said that, I was like, this is my kind of people, man.
yeah, but it's like the philanthropists, like, how do they help out? You're like, oh, and it's they give they help by giving their time, and I'm like, oh, that's me. That's all
Yeah.
I can give. So is my time is like, not the saying it's not, I have to be like, okay, it is valuable, right? But it's something that I can give to someone.
Yeah.
And so
And it
that's
is valuable. You're a valuable person. You're a human. Like you're alive, you're breathing, you're creating, you're inspiring. So anytime you give to anybody is valuable. And I think that's a better gift than any money can get, can get.
mhm.
Like just a side story, I guess, since we're on a podcast.
Yeah.
My mom has her little foundation organization called I called it Mission Waffle. She hates that I call it that, but it's because it's Mission Warmth of Love, and when you abbreviate it, it's Mission Waffle, like giving someone a waffle,
Oh.
So anyway, we have this little foundation, and like you said, all we have is time. Obviously we can pitch in and see how we can help people, but during the holidays we like to give back somehow because we were on the other side of things many years ago when my mom was a single mom. And every year we collect either blankets. Last year we did blankets and food for the homeless here in Houston, and we go to the same spot every year, and it's an experience every year. Like you leave so inspired, hearing so many stories from people, but also like giving them a little something that literally brightens their life, like these people brought us warm food and it's like literally freezing out, like you're cold while you're serving them, and you're like dang, like, there's people that live like this, and all they need is someone to listen to them. You think that they want money, they want a house. There's people who chose to be homeless,
Mhm.
for example, and they just want someone to listen or someone to share a meal with, or, they just need a blanket. And if you don't have the money to give it, you can connect people with your gift. You can find a way to give back by giving time. And so I give back in time by gathering stuff for the homeless every year with my mom to give back. I don't think I've ever talked about this out loud. We do have like a social media platform, and I make a video every year about it, just to encourage people to go give, to be giving. But honestly, I think it's so powerful to give in time more than a donation. Like
Yeah.
go to a church, you give money in an envelope, you don't know where that goes,
Yeah.
But when you go out on a mission, you take that money and you invest, the $5. There's stores here called Five Below. There's Dollar Tree. There's all kinds of stores for all price ranges. And you can either make a blanket, from scratch,
Yeah.
or buy a cheap blanket, or you buy water, you buy water. and just go invest time, give it to people, just go listen to them, give them water, give them a blanket, give them an apple, I try to find many ways to give, and it makes us feel better because we feel more involved, but you have no idea how it changes people's lives. Like, I ran into the same men 2 years in a row, and it's just cool, just to see the impact you make in people's lives.
Yeah.
When they're at rock bottom for so long, or in any way, I'm talking specific experience, but there's ways you can give, in school, if you there was something that you wish somebody spent more time with you doing something in school, you can give back in time at a school, at a library, reading to kids. There's so many ways to give back in time. One of my favorites, and it might sound a little more funny, but I used to go to this place, like a senior living community, when I worked at a magazine. And I used to love to go on Valentine's Day because we got to give them pedicures and manicures and massages and stuff. And it was like my thing. Like, I was like, we're going to go and hang out with the elder. And in the beginning, it wasn't like that. I was like, why are they making us go to this community? Like, don't these people have family or other people that are taking care of them? And it really opened my eyes to like a whole different world. So giving in time is the best, Javier.
Yeah.
Time. Give in time.
Yeah. No, it's what we did last year too. My spouse, my family, over here, in Utah, Saratoga Springs. I'm just kidding, getting worse. No.
147.
I know. No, but we started doing for us, because I told my wife, I'm like, we started doing some sub for Santa.
Okay.
And it wasn't, I told my wife why. Like, I'm like, growing up, that's where we got everything, right? We, my family of my parents and all that, brothers and sisters, like, we would always get stuff for Santa, Celebration Army. And I'm like, and now that I feel like I'm able to give, it's something that I want to do. And just seeing my daughter experience that and kind of explaining to her what we're doing, why we're buying these gifts, right? But then at the end of the day, it wasn't the gifts that we bought, it was that time that we sat through with the family and communicate and talked, right? And let them know, like, hey, yeah, we also came here with our kid, with my parents, and letting them know, like, it's possible to be in a better situation, but even though bosses letting them know that you're still in a great situation because you have a place, and you have a great family. So anyways, just
that's a lesson. Like, I think it's really cool to see your kids. I don't know how your experience was with your daughter. I love to hear it. But my daughters, I take them with me every year. They get excited to go out there and freeze their asses off and feed the homeless. And my youngest is always thinking like, oh, there's home, every time she sees people that's something here in Houston. And I'm probably using, I don't know if that's the best term to use, but there's a lot of people that don't have homes. They live under a bridge, or they live, on corners by gas stations. There's a lot here. And those are people with stories, And so I teach my children that it doesn't matter what you're wearing, what you're driving, who you think you are, or what you look like to people. These are also, like, no one is better than anyone. And our roles could always switch. And right now we're the ones helping someone, but we don't know if we'll need someone's help someday. So when we do it, we have to do it with good intention, so that the universe, if we ever need it, will grant us with good intention as well. So giving, man. We're givers. That's why.
No, I love that. And this is the I don't want it to be like, we're getting off the thoughts or where we need to be, right? The train. I can't remember what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm trying to say, but
yes.
The topic, yes, it is. But it's like, this is part of, like, I feel like we still connect this in a way of, like, us as entrepreneurs, business owners, creators, innovators, and all that. So this is why, anyways, bringing it back to for with everything that we said today, And we need to do a second part, like legit.
Totally should. Do
We
in
need
person.
in person, like
Yes.
like
Yes.
something that we can just like say, okay, she didn't lie to me. She's for real. You know,
Oh, she's real. She's not an AI.
she's not an AI.
AI with frizzy hair.
Yeah.
She's
No,
real.
but like what's something that you want to leave and say to entrepreneur, someone that's starting off, what's the type of like a great advice that you want to give, or little push?
I think if I could summarize what we talked about today, it would be to believe in yourself. And when I say believe in yourself, I don't mean like I'm the shit, but to really believe in yourself enough to write out a plan, to write out your ideas, what you want, to see it through, to put it on paper so that you can visualize it, put it on a vision board. Give yourself a plan, like give yourself something that you can see happening. And to do that, you have to believe in yourself. You have to take the time. So we talked a lot today, but I think the main topic was time to learn, time to fall and grow, time. Just give yourself time to figure it out. Don't rush the process. Don't look at how fast somebody else did it. Sometimes people have more help, financially, they have someone investing in them. Don't compare your process. There's always resources to start. Don't think that something's too expensive and you won't be able to do it until you have so much money. There are people out there helping. There's you, Javier, there's me, and there's a lot more like us, I'm pretty sure. And just, don't hold back. Connect. Find the time to connect. Find the time to write. Find the time to see things through. Just make time.
Mhm.
Make time.
Like it. And where can these listeners, viewers find you? Like what's your okay.
In
At home in
Texas.
Houston, Texas.
If people want to connect with me, they can find me on Instagram. I don't know if you're going to put the handle on the screen, but it's at Eva P. Valles. And then I do have my website, which isn't active right now. It may be active by the time you launch this. So it's revolutionworld.com. I misspell revolution on purpose. It's not an accident. It's spelled with my name in it, the ego part of the business at Revolution World. .com. And then I have a LinkedIn on my profile. So in any way that you want to connect, you just go to my Instagram, click on that link, and there's all the different things I do.
Interesting. You said revolution. So I get it. It says Eva in the middle.
Yes.
Ah.
And my email, you can reach me at my email, eva@revolutionworld.com.
Okay. Eva. No, but
yes.
Eva, I appreciate your time. Okay, before I even end it, whatever. I think we'll connect and we're gonna come up with the second part or whatever we call it, but it's gonna be something great,
I think
and
so.
I want to be able to share so much again, and just I don't know. We'll talk. So
we'll talk. Record.
Yeah.
Just the camera.
You're like looking at it.
Where are you?
She's like, you there? Are you there?
Are you there?
How many cameras do you have? Jeez.
Right there. But I'm looking at you like right on the side.
Okay. I was like, oh my gosh, who's she yelling
We'll
at?
talk. We're gonna talk. We're not drunk. We're sober.
We're in our creative space
for
right
hours.
now. Yeah. It's gonna be an episode.
Great. Thank you for inviting me. I feel grateful and honored, like I said, to be a part of your journey at this stage and the many more times that I'm pretty sure we'll connect.
Yes.
We'll annoy our families because I can tell we're just going to be laughing. But
yeah, like, were they even recording something?
No.
No.
It's been great. Thank you for inviting me for sure.
No, I appreciate it, but thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.